We got Hubert, got Crystal, just talking about the tech world. It's hard enough, but especially hard for Black people navigating in the tech world. So we have two professionals. Thank you for your time, y'all. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me as well.
So we're just going to start off kind of introductions, kind of what you do, title, kind of how long you've been in the tech world. Just kind of give us a brief introduction.
Okay, I'll start. So I'm Crystal Latrice, also known as the Tech Barbie, and I've been in the tech industry for a year and a half. I started as a sales engineer, but now I'm a customer success manager in tech within the marketing technology sector. And yeah, that's kind of my intro. I'm from New York.
Nice, nice. My name's Hubert Smith. I've been in tech technically for 14 years. Started off as a researcher for a company called CoStar Group. You might have heard of them. They own apartments.com. Currently, I'm a enterprise relationship manager at LinkedIn, and I've been there for 6 years.
And
So I saw
me myself, I've been in tech for 13 years, so I'm right behind you, Hugh, right behind you. Started off as just help desk stuff, and I was able to just get certifications, education on the side, just self-learning, and now I'm a senior system engineer for like a Fortune 500 company. So, it's been quite a journey, but you put in the work and eventually it shows. So now I kind of want to ask you guys kind of what was your, I guess, obviously we didn't get born into tech. We started somewhere before we got here. So kind of speak to your journeys, kind of what made you do it, whether it's a money play, was it, some interest, kind of just speak to that. And Chris, if you want to go first with us.
Yeah, I'll go first. So the reason why I pivoted into tech, so I'm a mom of two. I have two boys, and I was working in healthcare for like 15 years, just living check to check, $19 an hour. And I was just like, this is not my life. I was offered two promotions and I turned them down because I'm like, I'm not passionate about what I'm doing right now. And I knew that I wanted something more, but I wasn't sure what exactly or like where I was supposed to be going. Everyone around me was going to school for something they were passionate about. And I just was like, I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. So anyway, I started building my relationship with God like 2 years ago, and I started watching Anthony O'Neill. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's big in like the Black community, trying to create financial freedom and teaching about wealth and stuff like that. So I was watching his content, and he kept talking about tech, tech, tech. And he was showing us like these are people that look like you and I that are pivoting into the tech industry, making good money. So for me, I'm not going to chase money. I want to do something that's challenging, but also makes me good money. And so I started doing research, and I learned about like a lot of people that look like me that became sales engineers and solutions consulting, doing demos and presentations, very simple and basic things, but it's something that the Black people are not used to. They've never heard about being in tech or doing demos or anything like that. So anyway, I did a lot of research and I invested into two different programs for tech. And then it took me about 10 months, which is not long when you think about like degrees that you get to where you are. So I invested. It was a long journey, but I'll kind of keep it short. But pretty much I pivoted into tech as a sales engineer. And that was without a degree, actually. So yeah, that was without a degree. I just did two courses. I think I invested about maybe like 4,000 altogether. And within those 10 months, I pretty much made that money back in my first month just working at the company. So yeah, that's kind of like in short my journey on why I pivoted. I was tired of living check to check. I wanted a career that I was happy and proud of, and then also something that challenged me. So that's kind of how I got into it.
My journey is a little interesting, I guess. So I went to school. I went to Howard University, graduated with a bachelor's in business. But I played football. I didn't do a lot of interning while in college, so I kind of had to figure out how to find a job when I graduated, and I started working for a local CPA. And half the time while I was working for that CPA, I was applying for jobs because I hated working for him. And so coincidentally, I was applying for jobs on Monster.com, which is or was a big competitor of LinkedIn at one point in time. And I got a job at a company called CoStar Group. And it was more money than I was making at the time. It was going to give me benefits. It was in DC versus me going all the way out to Temple Hills, Maryland. And I did that for about 4 years. Um, in the midst of all those interviews that I was going on when I was working for the CPA, somebody told me to get in sales. And I was always like, I don't want to do sales. I don't want to sell anything to anybody that don't want it. If I don't believe in it, I can't sell it. So no, I don't want to do sales. Um, and about 4 years into my career at CoStar Group, I had moved to San Diego from DC, and they created a role that's a CSM role, basically. It was called Relationship Manager, and I moved to the Bay to do that job. And I did that job for 3 years. I got promoted multiple times within that role, um, but I didn't love that company, and I was tired of certain things that were going on there, and so. I pivoted and I was like, I'm gonna take a chance with myself and I'm gonna become a seller and sell some stuff. And so I went to LinkedIn. That process, I had my first interview at LinkedIn probably in June or July of 2018. I didn't get hired at LinkedIn until January of 2019. Um, and so 6 years later, I am, enterprise seller, been promoted multiple times because I started off as a small business rep in our staffing organization. Now I sell to sellers. I sell our Sales Navigator product. And yeah, it's been my journey. It's been great. And the reason I went into tech was I like autonomy. I also like um, quality of life. I think in most careers, whether you're a doctor, banker, lawyer, engineer, everybody that I know that does not work in tech doesn't have great work-life balance. Most like 90% of those people don't have great work-life balance. And I wanted to have great work-life balance since I was a kid. Like I was like, I don't want to be somebody like my parents that work all the time. I want to be able to like if my kids have a game, I can go to their game. And so that's like the money's great, but I wanted to be able to have that work-life balance.
I got a question for y'all because I've never done the whole like the sales side of IT, so I have no idea kind of what that entails. Because
Hmm.
but you guys have found it to be not only a way we can move up, but lucrative and able to support your families and your lifestyle, and that the work-life balance you could spoke about. So can you guys? Because I have no idea. So kind of you explain like what would a day-to-day, week-to-week, a project that would you that would kind of go with what you're doing at your job currently? Because I couldn't tell you if you asked me. I'd have to chat GPT it.
Crystal, you want to go or you want me to go?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go. Mine's is short. So I work for a marketing technology platform. So pretty much I would just do demos and presentations to kind of sell the product to um, marketing managers that are looking for a strategy for their marketing like efforts, right, for their company. So it's really me just finding a solution to their problem and do we solve the problem that they're having. So that's really what it was. It was just presentations that I do. Obviously, we have a quota, which I absolutely love the quota piece. I love the adrenaline of like closing a deal and how many deals can I close before the month ends. But yeah, I think it's simple. It's I mean, at least for sales engineers, I can't speak for like account executives and business development reps. I think that's a whole nother ball game there. But for me, it was just doing demos and presentations, trying to close as many deals as possible.
Um, are you talking about my current role? If you're talking about my current role, I'm technically, even though I live in Chicago and there's a Chicago office, I am technically remote. And you don't really get remote work unless you are in tech a lot of times. And so that's one way of looking at like the work-life balance. Like I have a 2-year-old, so um that allows me to take him to daycare and not have to, and his daycare is 30 minutes south of where I live. My job is maybe 10, 15 minutes north of where I live. So if I didn't have the work-life balance of being able to work from home, I would have to really be taxed on being in traffic probably about 90 minutes each way. Um, so 3 hours in the car. Another thing of a work-life balance is I'm in sales, so I kind of make my schedule as far as like when if I don't have meetings that day, then I might actually go run some errands that I need to get done. or I might just spend more time doing prospecting or something like that. But if I need to go to the doctor, there's just more work-life balance that is allowed when you're in sales because you kind of make your schedule. However much effort you put into sales is what you're going to get out of it. Um, in theory, there's some people that put in a lot of effort and get nothing, but they can't help their book of business, and there's some people that don't, and they still do well. But that's just luck of the draw sometimes. But yeah, the work-life balance is really like I make my schedule. If I decide that I want to work and talk to clients and send out emails at 7 o'clock at night and not work from 2 to 5, I have that flexibility as long as I'm hitting my quota. And so that is really important to me to have that autonomy and have that ability to like, hey, my schedule, it might not work for my schedule for me to work today from 12 to 5. I need to be able to pivot and work from 6 to 10. And I have that ability.
Okay. And then I guess my other question would be like, what would be like some things you would do on a project or job responsibilities? Because now I know, Crystal, what you do, you kind of do, you'd be, I guess, in a boardroom, kind of like your background, and you'd be presenting to clients kind of what your software entails and how you can fix their problems. So kind of, what would that be for you as far as what you would do, like what a sales call would entail?
Um, just depends on where we are in in the sales cycle. So I am a relationship manager, meaning that I am technically an account manager. So all of my accounts are existing clients. So my job is to retain those clients and expand their services or increase their spend, right? And so if it's like if this is a new customer, we're gonna have a first call. We're gonna introduce ourselves. I'm gonna try to learn their priorities. Uh, Basically doing deep discovery about like what's going on in their business, what's the pain, who are the stakeholders in the organization that have visibility and decision making power. And anything that has to do with the program, I got to make sure that the program is healthy and people are leveraging our licenses. um, but if it's like, let's say we're in the middle of the sales cycle, a lot of times it's just doing check-ins, seeing where things are. And then when we're actually closing a deal, it's a lot of negotiating. So I'm meeting with program managers, uh, stakeholders. I'm meeting with procurement. I might be meeting with legal. Um, I might be meeting with the I might be meeting CEO. I might be meeting CSO, which is Chief Sales Officer. I might be meeting with COO. It really just depends. Um, and then we close the deal, right? But most of my calls are anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. It's rare that I'm on a call for that long. I haven't had to go meet anybody. Again, I'm in tech, so and LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, so a lot of my calls are actually on Microsoft Teams. So I don't really have to go see people unless they are open to it, because I love meeting my customers in person because I feel like it's easier to buy from people when you relate to them or have met them.
So does anything that either of you do, does it actually, I guess, involve the implementation of technology, like I guess uploading the software, pushing it out to servers, computers, or the infrastructure, or you're just pretty much just presenting a solution that they can implement in their business?
Yeah, once I close the deal, our engineers and stuff send them the stuff over to their system. So I don't have to implement anything in particular. I'll do demos and like I'm running these weekly office hours where my customers can reach out to me and ask me how to leverage the tool. But I don't have to do any implementation. I actually have someone that is like Crystal on my team that's a CSM, and she's responsible for doing enablement and making sure that my customers are the larger customers are enabled at scale.
Yeah, I'll add to that as well. So, Hoodie, when you had first mentioned about sales, I talked about as a sales engineer, but I did just get a promotion, so I'm a customer success manager. So yeah, we do help them implement and kind of sync and integrate HubSpot and Salesforce so that we can push and pull all of the data into their CRM systems for their sales team. So that's the most technical that I get. I might inspect some of their websites to see if their website tracker is on like properly so we can track who's visiting their website. But that's like the most technical that I get. It's not too technical. So.
Okay. All right. See, I mean, honestly, I know for me growing up, that was never something that we learned or talked about in school. Like it was, kind of the basics, just go to school, police, fireman, doctor, like stuff that was kind of out of reach for me because I wasn't like a school guy anyway. I was just there to play basketball. So just hearing what you guys doing is like, all right, it seems like it's feasible. And based on what you said, Crystal, it didn't take you 4 years and $200,000. So it makes it a lot more reasonable for people. It's like you don't know what you don't know. I'm just thankful for me, like my journey. I was thankful I got a basketball scholarship. So, I was just there to hoop, wasn't really doing nothing. I kind of wasted a scholarship and opportunity, but I just got one of my mom's friends. He was opening up a business, or he had opened up an IT business, and they needed interns. So it was about the same what I was making in the warehouse, and I was working on like the freezer section. It was like -40, slinging ice cream. That's why I've been had the mask since like '06. It's freezing in there, and it's a lot of ex-cons because I'm working overnight and stuff. So it's not like a good people not trying to do better necessarily. It's kind of people just making ends meet. So I got that opportunity and I just started doing stuff on my own, like YouTube. I went to YouTube University. I haven't paid for a course, just YouTube. I might pay for like some practice tests and exams before I go, because I go to like the testing center in Philly to get my certifications done. But other than that, I try to get 2, 3 certs a year and just network with people in my job. So, you go from a warehouse to now I manage a data center and the IT infrastructure for a distribution center. It's like a little under 2 million square feet. So anybody can do it. If I can get out of a warehouse to now I manage the IT infrastructure for a warehouse, I mean, anybody can do it. You just got to be consistent. And, it took me a little longer than you, Crystal. Like it took years of me getting certs, and you know how technology is always changing. I went from like getting like my VCP, which is like a virtualization certification. Now I'm trying to get like a programming language and whatnot, just because and AI, because that's what's being leveraged in tech a lot. So I try to be on the opposite end of y'all. So I like being an engineer and doing the tech stuff, and really, if I can get away with the customer interactions, I would prefer to do that because machines, they don't talk back. They don't have mood swings. You just have to reboot them if they start acting up. You can't do that with people. So I prefer to kind of just be in the weeds when it comes to that. So,
What's your what's your job title and like what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Like what does that look like for you?
so I'm a senior systems engineer. It's kind of a vague title, which is when you apply for jobs, you really have no idea until you actually start interviewing with who's ever going to be you're going to be working with, because you'd be like, all right, do you do this? But I manage like a mini data center. So all like the racking, stacking, patching, remediation, all that type of stuff, swapping out physical servers and voice gateways. The DMARC point and the other side of the building where like the internet comes into the building, I manage that whole area. It's just a couple of devices, but if that screws up, ain't nothing working at all.
Cool.
And then, I also do some coding, like some CI/CD pipelining, Python, stuff like that, because that's where the money is, honestly, in coding. If you can do that and automation and all that stuff and AI, I would like to get back to, what you're doing, Hubert, like the whole work from home, not being bothered at all. Because I used to be a cloud systems engineer. So I had my cloud infrastructure on one page, one screen, and I had Snowfall on the other. And I just do my stuff and watch snowfall pretty much, honestly, like because it was easy stuff. Because when with computers, if you're doing patching and stuff, you're just monitoring stuff, you're implementing something, and then you're making sure there's no errors and whatnot. So it was pretty easy. But this opportunity paid more, significantly more, and I'm in the South now, so my money stretches even farther. So I do like it.
Yeah, I do have that flexibility now, but I'm actually looking to pivot into sales leadership. So that remote piece is probably going away. As soon as I get promoted, I would have to go in the office and be with my team. But yeah, I mean, being remote is always fun. Like I loved COVID. Like everybody's like, oh, I want to go back in the office. I was like, I don't like, no, it's distracting. And I don't like commuting. So I'd rather work from home. I'm way more productive. And you lose time with work when you're commuting. So and I'm all about being efficient. But yeah, I would love to know like where you kind of gave an idea where you're looking to go. Crystal, being that you are fairly new to tech, like what is your end goal? What is your end game?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because I feel like I've been promoted twice in this year and a half. I work with a startup. I'm at a startup, so it's easy for you to get promoted and kind of move around. So I'm not sure. I feel like I try have to like go into different departments within the industry to kind of see what I like and what I don't like. But Hoodie, like you had mentioned about like coding, so I am just starting to dip my feet into learning coding, which I think it's super cool to like take numbers and letters and create something. I'm just like that's amazing. So I'm starting to learn that. I don't do coding, but I check some coding with like the website tracking with our company, and I just found that interesting. I see my CEO doing coding and he like does it so quick and I'm like he just took numbers and letters and then changed the interface. I'm like, "What?" So, I'm not sure. I don't know how to answer that, but I think coding might be something. I think I wanted to pivot into sales because I wanted to challenge myself. I struggled like many years with just socializing and communicating. And so I was like, I really want to push myself to do something that I've always struggled with. So I'm glad that I've been in this position, but I'm thinking something with coding might be good. I don't know. We'll see.
Let me on that note. So I would say coding is super lucrative. You can write your own ticket, and I know people probably shouldn't be saying this, but here's the hack. If you can get multiple coding jobs, you can work them simultaneously. So
Mhm.
I know people that have two, three, four coding jobs, and they work them all at the same time, and they're making like $400,000 working 9 to 5, all the jobs simultaneously. Because if you're a coder and you get backed up with projects, you can always do stuff after work, before work, but during the workday, nobody's really going to bother a coder. They're just going to give you a project, or hey, if you do analytics, like, hey, process this or write this code or troubleshoot this. And they don't know how to do it. That's why they send it to you. So you have a reasonable amount of time to kind of do multiple projects. So once you kind of get it down pat, I would say build out your lab, like an internal lab where you can test stuff because you have to do it every day. Otherwise, you will forget like that. I promise you. You take a vacation, you'll forget how to do your job entirely. So just yeah, if you're gonna do it, stay on it. Yeah, Python, Java, even look into AI coding. All those things, you're making probably 150 to start. Easy. And you probably get two jobs. So you're probably making 300.
That's great. Hubert, I know like in sales, a lot of people will have two jobs at once. Not a lot. I've heard of people doing that. Have you ever heard of that?
I tried it one time, but it was during COVID for sure. But most people don't want you to do that. So that if you haven't left your company, they're like, oh, we can't hire you. But I think I don't know anyone personally that has done it. I have heard of people working two jobs. Honestly, with the amount of work you have to do at a certain level, I don't see how people do it. Because you have so many people to maintain. Like if you're an SMB or mid-market rep, I don't know how you manage two sales jobs. But like if you're like someone that's enterprise, what we call key accounts or strategic accounts or something like that, or a Gantt or a global account where you really only have a handful of customers that you meet with, yeah, you could work two sales jobs easily. Uh, Now I don't know that you could work for two large tech companies at the same time, because then there might be some liabilities or some things that may come into play. So you might have to work in different industries as a seller. But yeah, it's possible. But I make enough money at this level where I don't really need to work two jobs. It wouldn't be the juice wouldn't be worth the squeeze, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm in the twos, so yeah, no, it wouldn't be
Okay,
worth
I need to be where you're at. I'm close to like 130 right now. And I'm still new into tech, but still I need to get in the twos.
it. Yeah, I mean, make sure when you get in the twos, you have some things to write off for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is my first time not getting like because I have kids, but I claim one and share it with dad. And I'm like, you're not getting a tax return. Ah, okay.
There's definitely ways around that. I won't say the exact figure that I got, but there are ways around it. I have yet to not get a refund.
Oh,
So, but I also have my podcast and my LLC and things that I can write off. I have a fairly new vehicle that I can write off. All those things matter. That's another conversation for another time. But yeah, just make sure that you are finding some assets and some things to write off once you're in that tech bracket. And I think a lot of times people don't think about that when they're like, "Oh, I want to work in tech." Okay, do you want to pay taxes? Because if you work in tech, most of the jobs are six figures, and that's a different tax bracket. And so you have to account for that. So you might need to go buy a property or make sure you buy a vehicle that is over 6,000 pounds so you can write it off against your income so you don't have to pay taxes.
All right, I'm learning here. Thank you.
Well, that's it, y'all. I didn't have too many questions outside of that. Like, I appreciate everybody, time this evening or afternoon, kind of showing us your journey, and I love how, for you, Crystal, it was quick and dirty, so to speak. 10 months, a couple courses, boom, you're in the tech world making six figures.
Yeah.
Hubert, you were kind of, more the traditional route. You went to school and then kind of moved up and was able to kind of climb the ladder and then still going. And then me, I kind of went the grinder way, so to speak. I just did self learning and it kind of worked out for everybody. So just looking forward to seeing everybody's journey, continued success, and maybe we'll spin the block in a couple months, see if everybody's at a twos now. Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure.
That- Thank you so much. I really appreciate both of you.
Likewise. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Take care.
You too. Bye.